All right, guys. So I am interviewing one of my students, Levon. Levon is an attorney who has turned recruiter since joining my program. So I'm super stoked to talk to you, Levon, and happy you came on to have a chat with us. And why don't you want to introduce yourself and maybe kind of give a little background on you?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I'm stoked to come on and do this interview. Just background about me. I was an attorney for about 7, 8 years. I had my own law practice and I kind of got burned out of the profession. It's a tough profession. So around maybe, it was like around a year ago, I decided to just close up shop. I wanted to pursue other interests and I wanted to like consider all options on the table to see what I want to do next. And yeah, eventually I got into recruiting about this past August or September. I enrolled into Ben's program and I've been in it since. And yeah, I did a couple of things before I joined the program, but I definitely found my niche. Yeah.
Yeah, that leads right into my first question. Really, like, what exactly? I mean, obviously you stopped doing law, for various reasons and whatnot. Which is funny because I almost went to law school myself with my political science degree, right? But we won't talk about all that. We want to talk about
It's
you.
a good thing you didn't.
Yeah, right. I like what I do. So, what were you doing like right before you hopped into the program? Like, what was your day to day? Like, what were you working a 9 to 5, etc.? Like, what was that right before you came on?
Yeah, I was working a 9 to 5 basically after I closed up my law practice. I kind of wanted to just take some time off, kind of relax. So I took like maybe a couple months. And then of course I got restless because, I just, my personality is to go for, goals and be a go-getter. So one of my friends had a business located in my hometown, and he wanted me to come on, kind of be somewhat of like a general counsel / controller of the company. So I joined that, and he was totally cool with it being like just like a temporary thing. He just saw me, goes, "Hey, if you're not doing anything, why don't you just come on?" So I did that about 4 months. And around that time, I started thinking about recruiting because the company I was working for had a lot of just desperate needs to just hire people because it was just, the market's just crazy right now. And they needed to hire a lot of staff. And I'm located in Southern California, the Los Angeles area. And so while that was happening, they had like an internal recruiting team. And I kind of got turned on to the idea of recruiting, but I really didn't know anything about it. So I just looked up, what do you do when you don't know something? You Google it or you YouTube it. And I found your videos, Ben, and some of the videos and tips really worked. I suggested it to my boss and the HR team, even though I was not like their recruiter. I suggested it, and we got some results. And then I just dovetailed. I kept watching your videos, and then I found out about the mentorship program, and I was like, well, why not just do this full time? And
Sure.
Didn't really have a lot of experience, to be honest, but I just dove right in.
Yeah, that was basically my question too. So aside from watching YouTube videos, aside from, just what you saw or knew about or anything and what you can learn on your own, did you have any like direct recruiting or staffing experience, like placing people in spots or anything, or was everything from scratch when you actually joined the program to start your agency?
No, everything was from scratch. I don't have any direct. I mean, I was in that company. I was a controller and kind of general counsel, but they had a full-time internal recruiting team. It was like their HR and the managers. So, I mean, I was a part of their discussions about, who to hire. Because as, if you're in a company, you want to know what the benefits and consequences are of like hiring anybody and like going through HR. And because I was an attorney, I would work closely with the HR on like onboarding, right? But that's onboarding. That wasn't really recruiting. So no, I didn't have a lot of experience. I just kind of saw what they did. But I didn't know. I kind of started from scratch when I joined the program.
So once you joined in the program and you kind of started working with me and the group, how many contracts were you able to land? How many, you can put it this way, how many contracts and how many placements, let's say, through the program?
I made, well, within the 3 months, And then like up until I get easiest way to put it is like after I joined the program, within a couple months, I was able to get like 6 to 7 contracts, and I got those placements. And some of them were like more than one place. So it was like,
So volume.
yeah, I got like one contract, but I actually got a repeat client within like 2 months. It was the same client. He just came back to me. So I guess you could play with the numbers a bit, but it was like, yeah, it was probably, I would say like half a dozen contracts.
Nice.
That I was able to
Solid.
get within like 2-3 months. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So you were off to the races, you're running. And then of course, everybody wants to know, right? What type of revenue did you do since joining the program? Like, simple question, you joined Ben's program. How much money did you make, since joining the program, basically?
Yeah, I made 50,000 in 3 months.
50K in 3 months.
Sorry?
50K in 3 months. Just
I got 50,000 in 3 months. It's, as real. I was very happy. I would say I got my first client pretty quickly. Within 2.5 weeks, I got my first client, which was like, I was shocked. I got my first client in 2.5 weeks, and then I got another client after that. So I was able to get the clients pretty quickly, and just following your program and cold email strategies. So yeah, I was off to the races. Before I knew it, I had to quit my job. I mean,
yeah, that was my next thing. So like, a lot of people watching these interviews, right? They're working 9-to-5 jobs, or they're in corporate right now, or they maybe are recruiting, but they're a corporate recruiter or whatever, and looking to go solo, looking to start their own business, basically. And people love to understand like what that transition looks like. And so you quit your job, basically. Was that a byproduct of basically like the revenue you generated, and like kind of like you saw what was coming in, and you're like, listen, I'm gonna make like double what I make here, at least, so I'm gonna leave. Like, what was the thought process?
Yeah, it was the latter. It was, I saw what was coming in, and I couldn't justify being at a job anymore. I think I was very transparent with my job. I told them, hey, I'm gonna do this on the side, and they're really cool about it. But after I got my first client within 2.5 weeks, and then I got my second client shortly thereafter, I kind of quickly came to the realization that, what am I doing at this job? I got my first client. I'm gonna make my placement. And I quickly saw the writing was on the wall. If I just devote my time to getting more clients, I can't justify being at a job anymore. So I quickly realized what was coming, and I made the right choice, because as soon as I quit, and I probably like quit soon after I got my first client, and I told the people at my job, they were happy for me. We got off on really good terms.
Yeah.
I basically told them, like, I don't think I could be here anymore, because I'm getting these clients and I'm going to get more.
Right. And that's very common in the program too. I mean, like, people that end up matching their revenue or matching their income at their job see the writing on the wall right away, and they see the scale and expansion, and it only makes sense at a certain point to justify it like that. Well, if I'm making X amount, in my current job, and then I'm making that same amount or more in recruitment as a side hustle, quote unquote, and I'm only going to expand and scale that, why am I staying in my 9-to-5 when I can get all this freedom and all this? We could even talk about all the fun things, like you were able to do way faster than you wanted to do, like, getting certain things and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. But yeah, it just makes sense at that point. So that's a really good point.
Yeah, no, it was really good. But I quickly realized that there's the ceiling. I mean, if I can make 50,000 in 3 months, then who knows what I can make in the year?
Right.
It doesn't really justify being at a 9-to-5 at that point.
Right. At a certain point, it almost just becomes mathematics. It's like, it's simple math, stupid math is what I like to say, right? 50,000, 3 months. What else can you do? And I know your goal is set extremely high for generally speaking, most people would think, it's a really high goal, but now you have ambitious goals because you can hit them, because you have proof of concept, and where you've been. So, simple stuff, as far as leaving the job, scaling up. And I mean, like, what has your life improved? Like, like how do you feel now?
Oh yeah, it's so much better. Before I joined the program, I didn't know what I wanted. I just knew I didn't want to be a lawyer anymore.
Hmm.
And then for a while, I kind of drifted, and then I eventually started working, but I didn't really have any life goals. I was just trying to like just decompress after being a lawyer for so long.
Hmm.
But now that I joined the program, it's kind of reinvigorated me. Now I have goals. I see a future in this profession. I see a future in scaling up. I
Hmm.
have goals that I set for myself. Quality of life is improved. It's recruiting is no business is without stress, but recruiting it's night and day compared to being a lawyer.
Hmm.
And it's really really great. It's a great business model that the mentorship program provides. Got a new car, did a lot of fun
Hmm.
stuff, traveled a
Yeah.
lot. Quality of life has just improved drastically. I checked off all of my goals that I set for myself, and
Love
now
it.
of course I'm putting new goals.
New goals, new, bigger goals. Yeah. Got to have the big vision, right? So we'll wrap it up with this here. And I ask everyone this. So the people that are watching this interview and just they're always curious, what is your biggest piece of advice, or what would you tell somebody that's thinking about getting into recruiting, that's thinking about running their own recruiting agency, staffing agency, and just making the decision to just do it? What would you say to that person?
I would have a couple of things to say. Number one, you should start thinking like an entrepreneur. If you have run a business before, if not, it's not a big deal. I mean, tons of people jump into running a business with no experience, and it turns out like as long as you have the work ethic. So it's number one, having an entrepreneurial mindset, and what that means is, and I kind of alluded to it, have a good work ethic, have a good mentor in entrepreneurship and having a business. You don't have a boss, and that's a good thing. At the same time, you do need someone to run ideas off of in whatever business you're in. So it's really important to have a good mentor. It's very important to have a good work ethic. And it's very important to have like really high goals for yourself. At the same time, having an entrepreneurial mindset would mean that, it takes a different style of thinking, which you can pick up, you will pick up pretty quickly that, you're going to have clients that you need to service. You're going to have things you got to do and get motivated to do them by yourself. But the great thing is that when you have your own business, it's like you're forced to just do those things because nobody's going to hold your hand. So I
Mhm.
would say kind of start thinking more like an entrepreneur, have a good mentor, have a strong work ethic. And overall, the question is what advice I would give is most of all is just go for it. Don't think too much about it. Kind of like the more you think, you get an analysis paralysis. It's you never have it's never an easy time to make a hard decision. You just
Right.
have to go for it. You just have to jump in. Just go in without thinking too much about it. I mean, the program is definitely good. I recommend it. So if you have a good program, if you have a good mentor, if it looks good on paper and makes sense, then you should go for it. Don't think too much about it because then you'll hesitate.
Sage advice. Everyone should listen back to that twice. I always say that people undervalue themselves by about 50%. And I think that's what happens. And
Yeah,
imposter
it's true.
syndrome kicks in, hesitation, like you mentioned. And when you think too much about things, you go nowhere. But when you execute, take action, and actually say, hey, I can do this. I can match my income, leave my 9 to 5. Like I can become my own boss. Like it's a thing. It's real. A lot of people don't really understand it. And I think, that's kind of why often we do these interviews to really like talk about, hey, what did a student do? How did it actually go? How did it feel? What did they actually do to attain where they're at now? So 50K in 3 months, man. That's the average American makes $42,000 a year, right? That's an
Yeah.
average across the board. You did 50,000 in 3 months. So do the math on the rest of that for the year and your goals this year, which I'm super super excited for you about, and ready to interview you again when you hit those goals, so that we can talk about how you went from here to there.
Yeah.
You
Looking
know what I
forward to
mean?
it.
So I appreciate you, just taking the time out to have this interview and chat. And yeah, man, we'll be, of course, chatting like we always
Yeah,
do.
man.
So,
100%.
we'll
Yeah.
talk more. And yeah, thank you.
No, thank you for having me on. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right.
All right.